This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
So then Big Break comes along. And was it Prince? Was it
Edward
Prince?
Island.
Edward Island was the first one. So tell me about that. Because the following season at Dominican Republic, you ended up winning.
Yes. First time I was on it, I finished runner-up.
Yeah.
The second time was so much better. The flight home was so much better.
Well, hello and welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori and I am your host. And before we get into today's episode, a little bit of housekeeping. I have a giveaway going on for the entire month of October. I'm calling it 30 Days of Swag Giveaway. I know we did some swag giveaways last spring, and believe it or not, I still have a closet full of swag to give away. So we are doing this as an Instagram giveaway. So you'll see all the information, all the winners, especially on our Instagram captions throughout the month of October. And then to enter, I've put the link in the show notes so that you don't need to deep dive into Instagram and see where it is. But this giveaway is mostly around the Instagram, Facebook world. But I wanted to give you, the listener, a heads up just in case you don't go over there and check that out much. All right, so that's in the show notes for more information. And then this episode is airing on Tuesday of the California Crush Invitational. I know, foreseeing the future, that we are having an amazing time over there. So go check us out. Again, while you're over on Instagram to see the winners of the giveaway, go check us out, see what we're up to. Sitting back now, preparing for the event, I'm really excited about what's to come. And especially like Sunday night and Monday night, I can't wait to see how those two nights unfold. So there's some brand new things that we're doing at the tournament, and it's going to be great. So go check out the California Crush Invitational and see what we're up to in Napa. As far as future events are, the Desert Classic is still completely sold out. If you want to get on the wait list, go ahead. The wait list is pretty long at this point, but you never know. And then also our Spain trip next September, I have 3 spots still available. So if you want to go on an epic European golf journey with us to Spain and hang out on the beach and golf 5 amazing golf rounds with us, everything is taken care of for you. All you have to do is get there. And then we have the golf, the transportation, the meals, the lodging, everything taken care of for you so that you can just enjoy your time. We even have a photographer come so that you are not a prisoner to your cell phone getting all the pictures that you need. We have an amazing trip planned for you. So for more information on that, I also put it in the show notes of this episode. But as always, you can just go to our website at toritotlis.com and you'll be able to see all our events that are scheduled. Like I said in a previous episode, we have some really exciting things coming for 2026 and even 2027. So if you're not following us already, everything is at Tori_Totlis. As far as our Instagram handles, our TikTok handles, everything. I'm not on Snapchat yet. Are you on Snapchat? Like, do I need to get on Snapchat? I wouldn't even know how to use it. But then again, we learn. All right. So if you are a listener that can't get enough of golf tips, you will surely recognize our guest today. Co-host of Golf Channel's School of Golf, we have Blair O'Neal joining us. You might also recognize Blair as a professional golfer, a model, and winner of Big Break Dominican Republic. Do you remember that show, Big Break? I loved that show. I think they need to bring it back, and we actually dive into that during this episode also. I'm excited for you to hear today's episode as we dive into the challenge of social media and golf, the grind, pressure, and process of being a young professional golfer, and her journey as a working mom in the golf media business. Honestly, we could have talked for hours. It was such a fun interview, and I'm so happy to bring it to you today. So without further ado, let's get into episode 156 with golf superstar Blair O'Neal.
Next up on the number one tee.
Hey Blair, how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good. I know you were just rushing around. This studio is tucked back in Old Town Scottsdale. It's hard to explain how it is, and I'm sure you were running around with your two boys this morning.
I was, yes, running around frantic, getting out of the house. They're both sick, so that's always a fun one.
Oh, of course. Now, I know you've always thought of being a working mom, even before you had your first son, Chrome. But how has that all been? How has that come into light?
Yeah, it's a lot to balance. For a long while, I was really just focused on my career. And at one point, I wasn't even sure, do I want to have kids? I didn't really know if we did or didn't.
Yeah.
Because I was so focused on my career, and that was just, my everything. I love to work.
Yeah.
And then I worked really hard to have two boys, going through IVF and all of the infertility and all of that. So now that we have the two boys, they're just amazing, a blessing, but it is really a lot to balance everything, because I've kept my career going and raising two young boys, and a lot of my work is travel, so trying to balance it all and manage it all is definitely difficult, and some days I feel like I do better with it than others.
Yes,
but it's just
the truth?
Battle.
Yeah. I know mine are older now, so it's gotten to the point now where I finally can go out of town and all hell doesn't break loose while I'm gone. Yes. It was always when I was gone. I swear to God, it was always when I was gone. They would give my husband such trouble. But
and the mom guilt, and then you feel bad for just leaving.
No,
Maybe you could give me some tips.
No, totally. It gets better. It gets better.
I'm almost out of the thick of it. So I said my youngest, he'll be 2 in 3 months, and then we have a 4.5-year-old. So I feel like once they get to once my youngest can actually talk a little bit more and communicate with what's going on, and doesn't get so frustrated with that, then I feel like we're almost out of the thick of it, out of baby
yes,
stage.
Yes.
So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I absolutely love it. At the same time, I love it. It's so hard, but I love it.
You know what? I wasn't going to bring this up till later, but let's talk about them getting into golf.
Okay.
Because again, with me, I took all 3 of my kids to junior golf at the country club, and so they went there, once, twice a week, and I would hit balls while we were there. But they never really caught on. It never was something that they loved doing. So how are you going to approach them?
Well, my boys are already obsessed with it. Even
are.
The 22-month-old, he's every single night, even when it's hot out right now, we wait till the shade comes down. Still hot, but we go out there and we have a putting green in our backyard, and you can chip over the pool into the green. We just have a good area for it. And so every night we're out there, and he's just hitting ball. He's going to be our boy who just wants to practice all the time.
Yeah.
It's always a battle to get him back inside the house. We got to go to bed.
No.
But getting them into it, I think the main thing for us that we've done if you have kids starting at such a young age to get them into the game is just to have just have golf clubs readily available, ones that fit them, the plastic clubs. And we have golf clubs everywhere around our house. Inside the house, outside the house. I buy the little plastic replacement balls that are for actually their toys. They're colorful and they're plastic and they float so they don't sink in the pool.
Yes.
Because the real balls are not good when you're at home. Yeah. And then a variety of different clubs. And then I think them just seeing you play, even if it's just in the backyard, us chipping or putting or like you said, taking them out to the country club or the golf course and letting them see you do it, and just having the tools readily available for them to be able to just pick up a club and they figure it out.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So what's been going on this summer? I know you are pretty much a Phoenix, Scottsdale native. You've been here since you were 3 years old.
Yes.
You're an ASU graduate.
Correct. Yep.
And was Missy the coach when you were?
She was. So I had 3 coaches while I was there.
Okay.
I got recruited by Linda Volstead.
Okay.
And then after that, we had Mickey Okoye, and then Melissa McNamara, and Missy was the assistant at that time.
Yeah. But what a dream to play for ASU
golf.
Oh,
absolutely. I grew up watching the ASU girls on TV. I just remember, my dad being like, "Come here, ASU girls are on TV, on the news," and them winning. And, I got recruited, and they had just won 3 national championships in a row. So it was like the it school to go. And I was just tunnel vision. That's where I wanted to go. college letters would come in, and my dad had like a file drawer where he'd like keep them all organized, and he'd be like, "Oh, this one came in from this school and this school," and I'm like, did ASU come in?" Like that's all I cared about. So fortunately, they wanted me as much as I wanted them, and so it worked out, and I ended up signing with them and playing for Arizona State, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, no, I bet. And we're going to get into that and your professional career in a second. But this summer, you've been traveling a ton, I see.
Yep, always traveling. I obviously work for Golf Channel and Golf Pass, so whenever we film, that's always traveling. Most of the time, it's in Orlando. And then my partner Cobra Puma, who I've been with, for a very long time. I have commitments with them throughout the year, and then I play in celebrity tournaments throughout the year as well. And so all of that's travel, and I love that because I love to compete, and it like fulfills my need for competition.
Yeah, and so
which is why I love to play the game.
I would imagine the summertime then is your biggest time where you are playing tournaments and actually competing.
It's kind of my busier is it starts right at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Because with January we start filming. I typically play in the LPGA Tournament of Champions in Orlando, and then it's PGA week, and then we're filming Golf Channel, and then like all these tournaments just start coming. So it's like once the new year starts, I'm kind of off for the races, and then it's just. Yeah, my schedule kind of never really stops, which is a great thing. But
and again, how do you fit in practice? Because I know you have that competitive edge to you still, and I know how hard it is to, have your golf game at a top level.
Yeah,
how do you?
To be honest, I absolutely do not get to practice as much as I would want to or should. Really, it's gauged along my schedule. So, like, what celebrity tournament do I have coming up? Because they are so competitive. Like, I'm playing with these former athletes who now just live on the golf course every day, and they get way more reps in than I do.
No, and they love it, and they want to like spend as much time as they did on football, baseball, hockey as they on golf now,
absolutely.
And that's hours.
Yes, and they're good at it too.
Yes.
So I have to keep up with them, Thank goodness I have like all my past of like all those hours on the range and putting in all that time, so I can go back on my feel and all of that. But when I have a tournament coming up, then it's like, okay, I need to find some days to get out and practice with and, to prep for it, but I don't get as much as I should.
Yeah. So you're just able to manage your expectations then.
Managing the expectations, and honestly, sometimes that works better for me anyways, to go in with less expectations. I play better.
Yeah.
And, when I was younger and played out on tour, I was a grinder, and I think, that's a whole nother subject, but I absolutely overkilled the preparing and preparation. Because I do love to practice. Yeah. So there's a balance in that as well.
Let's get into that right now then. Okay, so you played professional for 10 years. So what did that look like? I imagine you went right out of ASU and turned pro.
Right.
And I know what a grind it is now in 2024. I can't imagine what it was, then. So tell me about it.
Yeah, so I graduated from ASU, turned professional, and I went over to Asia and played in a bunch of events over there, and then I went and qualified at that time Symetra Tour, now Epson Tour. So I qualified for the Symetra Tour right out of college, and then played out there for a few years, and it's such a grind.
Yeah.
You go from college where you have the coaches, planning your car rental and entering you into the tournament and the logistics of all of it. And now you have to figure it all out. You have to figure out how to pay for it, how to get your entry fee, and where are you going to stay? You're going to do in-home housing because at that point, level, that's what you do. So it's just a lot to figure out once you are on your own. I think that was the biggest thing to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so throughout the years, what was it? Just a total roller coaster? How did you deal with it? Because it's a lot. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting being out on tour because, week to week and at that level, you're just driving to each event. But I played for a few years, had an injury, took like a year off. Took a medical leave, and then I got my opportunity with Big Break and all of that. So my career out there playing was, I feel like, so unique and so different than anyone else's, because at that time too, when I graduated, I also started modeling. and I was doing that to pay for all of my expenses.
Yeah.
I didn't have any backing from family. I was doing it all on my own. So I needed a way to pay to play every week and to cover all these expenses. And out there, especially, I don't know how much better it is at this point, but like, you make a cut, maybe you're getting some of your expenses back. You're just not making, there's just not a ton of money to be made out there at that level. So it's a grind week in, week out, and then also kind of managing my modeling jobs too at the same time to be able to keep everything afloat.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Big Break comes along. And was it Prince?
Edward Island was the first
Edward
one I was
Island
on.
was the first one. So tell me about that. Because the following season at Dominican Republic, you ended up winning.
Yes. The first time I was on it, I finished runner-up.
Yeah.
The second time was so much better. The flight home was so much better. But they were both absolutely great experiences for me. When I got the call for the first Big Break, I had auditioned like a year or two beforehand to be on Big Break. And I thought I was going to get it, and I did not get it. And I feel like this is kind of a story that's happened like throughout my career, actually.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, a year or two later, they called me, and that's when I had a broken foot. So I was out. I hadn't played like the last year, but I had been, I had a social following at that time and had my modeling, and I had played a lot, but at that time I was just getting over this injury. So they had called and they said, "Hey, we have a Big Break coming up we'd like you to be a part of, and we leave in a month. Do you want to do it? And how do you say no?"
Yeah, exactly. So, and at the time it was on the Golf Channel.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's always been on
It's
Golf
always been
Channel.
on Golf Channel.
So do you think that kind of your exposure on those two seasons too kind of helped you in the future get
It's been everything.
Yeah.
It's absolutely been my Big Break.
Why did they stop Big Break? What do you think? Is it just logistics?
It's a lot of money.
It is.
The show is very, very expensive to produce.
'Cause it's so good.
It's so good. Well, and it was their #1 rated show on Golf Channel that wasn't live golf. So it did very, very well.
Yeah.
And they did it for so many years too. They did so many variations of it. They had I think they had NFL Big Break. The Big Break I won was bringing back MVPs and it ran for so long, and so I don't know. All good things got to at some point, take a little break, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they brought
never
it back now and did LPGA players, maybe like some that we don't follow as regularly, and if that would help kind of boost viewership on the LPGA as a
That's
result.
absolutely an idea. Because the thing is with LPGA golf, it's just getting those eyes on these players.
Absolutely.
Even at the Epson Tour level, if you go out and watch them compete and go out on the weekend and watch them, I mean, it's just, you'll be converted to wanting to watch these, females play on the LPGA Tour, even Epson Tour. The separation between how good they are is not too far.
Yeah.
Like, they're just all so good that I think if you could just get somebody out there and drop them out there and say, watch them play, a golfer who just loves to watch golf, they'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I need to watch this more.
Yeah.
You know?
I love when I'm scrolling Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays, and I see like the country clubs scratch male golfer say, think that he can beat an LPGA player.
Yeah.
And you're like, stop. Just
Yeah.
stop, dude.
Yeah. I'd get that all the time too
Yeah.
on Twitter. People who just watch and like, oh, I could beat you any day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, let's not.
I don't think
It's so hard to not respond to
I
that.
know.
But you have to. It's like somehow if you respond to that, you are now like the weaker link in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Well, social media is just so tricky.
It
And
is
it's like,
tricky.
I absolutely have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah. So let's talk about social media when you were back on Big Break.
Okay.
Like, how did it serve your business at the time, your branding? Like, how did you utilize it then?
Well, like I said, before I was on Big Break, I had a following because I had, shown my golf modeling and I had worked with an array of golf sporting companies and even just sports companies in general. So I would always, post my stuff online. And so I had created a following, like I said, throughout me playing and then just with my modeling jobs. So I guess
At
my
that
point
time.
was I already kind of had that mindset before being on Big Break of using that platform to grow my brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to age myself, but I've been doing this for a really long time. back when MySpace was a thing,
Yeah.
I had a page, and there was no other golfer that had a page that was promoting them as a golfer and a model. And I wondered, I don't even know where those pages are. Do they even exist anymore? But like, I was thinking that way back then.
Yeah.
And then I was late to join Instagram. I feel like I didn't join Instagram until, I was on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess before Big Break, really. So I didn't even join Instagram until after Big Break. So then I absolutely used Instagram to grow my brand and promote what I was doing.
Yeah.
Show my experiences out on the golf course. When I would, do appearances, or when I do appearances, show where I was at, what golf courses I was playing. Post my modeling pictures, post an array of just my life.
Yeah.
And that created interest.
But you recognized it right away, like, okay, this social media can actually help
Oh, yeah.
grow everything.
Yeah. I mean, it is, like I say, I have a love-hate relationship. More love because it's done like so much for me, and it's given me really a platform to be able to promote, my brand and to absolutely grow my brand and grow my following. And I have people who have been following me from day one, from the beginning, which is just amazing. So I feel like I have a pretty loyal following. And then, people want to see what you're doing and, what you're doing inside the ropes and outside the ropes. And I try to show that. Now, I will say the last couple years with me having kids, it's been so much harder to keep up with that, because I almost feel like social media is like a relationship, and it takes like so much time and nurturing. And now I have 2 little babies too added in my life, and like they take a lot of my time and nurturing. So like something has to give. So, I feel like coming up here in the near future, I'll have a little bit more time with, my boys, going into school, or at least my oldest, and just being out of the baby stage, that I can put forth a little more effort and energy into social media like I did before I had the babies, and kind of nurture that relationship a little bit more. So it's kind of been coasting the last couple of years for me, and, and up until that point, I was really used to really using the platform to promote everything I've been doing. And fortunately, like in my work world and business world, everything has been, kept afloat, and I've kind of been riding the wave.
Yes.
But at some point coming up soon, and I got a lot of cool things coming up next year, I'll be able to.
You got to
put
like
some more
touch base
intention.
again.
Yeah, exactly. And just like touch base with your fans and reconnect with them, because I've also grown throughout the last years with my career and my family. And, I'm different than I was, my life looks different than it did pre-kids.
How do you think, first of all, I can relate. I'm in the same season myself, where it's just like, I don't know if I really want to, like, it's not a habit for me anymore to kind of go into my stories and share my day and what I'm doing and what I'm eating. Right. I'm like, that seems silly right now. Like, I'd rather be doing this or that. So I do believe it's a season for myself where I will grow back into it and want to get back into it, just like you're saying. But I think we have seasons where we're just a little more disconnected for whatever reason.
Right.
Right. I did go through some tough times with my daughter, and it just kind of like just seemed silly to be like, okay, right now I'm doing
like what's
this.
more important?
Yeah,
really.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. Like, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I put so much focus into that, and then I miss like this time with my kids when they're babies and growing up and doing all the things with them. Like, I'm absolutely not going to do that. But at the same time, I'm not going to let this fall off.
Yeah.
I know it's either. So
it
is absolutely a balance, and it's so hard.
I know it's a hot topic as far as having children on, like part of your brand. Do you think that you, like moving forward, like showing them growing up and showing what they're up to is going to be part of it, you think?
I do show them like on my stories, when we're golfing in the backyard and when we're out at the golf course, I do show them. I don't show them as much as I would want to. I felt like when I was just so excited when I was pregnant and when I was, I had my first, I just wanted to share everything because they were just like, the love of my life, like that's really what I wanted to share. And I just don't know if my audience, I feel like some of my audience appreciated it, and then a lot of them like they don't want to know that you're married or that you have kids. And that's why a lot of these influencers or girl golfers, like they won't show that they have a boyfriend or that they're married or that they've been married or, this, that, and the other. And I totally understand that because you don't know what kind of feedback you're going to get. And it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's all frustrating because it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, almost.
Totally.
And it's like you can say, okay, I'm going to post, and you think it's great, and then people want you to post, and then you post, and they don't like what you post.
Yeah.
Then you don't post. Well, why aren't you posting? So it's how
tricky.
are you going to win? And so I think I've just come to the, point to where I'm just going to post when I feel like it and when I want to, and not so much think this is the time I should. Like, I used to know, like, what were the best times for me to post? What were the best days for me to post? And I followed that, and it worked, but it's just a different season now, like you say. And so it's like, what's important, and you just got to do what works for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so going back to this summer, can you walk me through like one of the celebrity tournaments that you played in and like what it looks like? And I know you're surrounded by these celebrity golfers and what that weekend looks like.
So the first one of the year is the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions, and that's in Orlando. So we play alongside the LPGA Tour players.
Okay.
So they have their own purse, and it's an invitational for them. They've had to have won, I believe, in the last 2 years to get invited to play. And then there's about, 40 to 60 celebrities that are playing alongside them, but we have our own purse. It's televised, it's on Golf Channel, it's on NBC Sports. So it's a real tournament. And for us, like I say, competing on the celebrity side, like we're playing for a purse as well. And it's, on TV, and they're all competitive.
And it's like stroke play, just like
we're
with
playing
the
same teams.
Yes.
And
okay.
So, and typically, for the most part, the last, few years, I've been playing these tournaments now for 8 years?
Yeah.
Maybe longer, 10 years, I don't know. And so you kind of get to know. It's like a little reunion with the celebrity field every time you go to these tournaments. And the last few years, it's predominantly been only a handful of girls playing in the celebrity field, and a lot of the times it's been like me and Annika playing. Yeah. So which is amazing to be playing, alongside her greatest, player. And so nice as well. But, we're playing the same tees. We're playing the same tees as the guys, and they hit it further than us. We're 50 yards back. And, we also, we have the experience, so they, they like to say that. But they're stronger than us, let's be real. So, it's just so much fun playing with the LPGA Tour players as well.
You get paired with one other celebrity and two LPGA players. Yeah,
exactly.
That's so fun.
So I want to say this year, my last round, I played with Nelly. I've played with Brooke Henderson. I've played with Stacey Lewis.
Do playing with them motivate you? Like motivate you to kind of get back on the practice range and it
just motivates me because I know the feeling that they're feeling playing out there, that's their everything, and so I love that. I love that mode of golf. I play golf because I love to compete. Yes. For me, just to go to play out for fun is
it's okay.
Because I've been doing it so long, and that has been for so long, that was my only goal that I wanted to do, was to play out on tour. It's, I just love to be in that sense where I'm playing with them, but also all that pressure is not on me in that sense. I can play a little bit more freely. It's not my end all be all, and it's not what I do day in, day out. Yeah. But I absolutely love, to watch them. Playing with Lydia Ko, just, one of the nicest players, great player, Nelly. Like I said, she had an amazing year this year. Yeah. And when I played with her the last round, actually, she was struggling a little bit with her putting. She had just thrown in an old putter into her bag, and then she was playing around with her grip, and wasn't really playing the best. And then, but also that first tournament is kind of a weird timing for their schedule. They don't have another event until 5 weeks later, I think, and it's kind of the first one of the year, just them getting started. So then when she came out and just won straight away and was just crushing it, it's just says a lot to her to be able to see how much time she put in and work into her game to just be killing it out there on tour.
That wasn't the tournament that they had in Bradenton, right? You said
it's in where we play is Lake Nona.
Lake Nona, okay.
Yeah, Lake Nona Golf and Country
And that's
Club
in the beginning of January? Yeah.
Beginning of January, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So, but playing alongside them is just so cool.
Yeah. And so going through the summer, you're playing similar events. And then...
Yeah, so I have a handful of those tournaments. I play probably 5 or 6 of those events. And
actually, question for you: what's in it for you, other than itching that competitive side? What do you get out of it?
Well, there's a purse.
Yeah.
So that's
motivation
nice.
For that. Yes, absolutely.
And exposure. Like I said, most of them are televised.
Yeah.
And to be invited to these is such an honor. There's a wait list of celebrities
absolutely.
that want to play in these tournaments. So if you're on the list, you're not going.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you have as your caddy?
My husband.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He caddies for me, which I absolutely love. So in the beginning, when I first had Cannon, my second baby, that first year when I played in all these tournaments, because it's about 6 events a year. So, I mean, you're out there for a good week, you know, playing and traveling. I think I played my first event after I had Cannon 6 weeks after I had him. And we brought both boys, you know, brought the nanny out, like, to help.
Absolutely.
And it's just like
Yeah.
figuring it all out.
Yes.
A different way to play a tournament.
Absolutely.
I tell you.
And really, with him caddying, I mean, bringing help, bringing nanny is the only option.
It's the only way
Yeah.
you can get it done. Yeah.
But how great to have him there with you, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I
much
love having
worth
him.
it.
I love having him on the bag. When I played out on the back then Symetra Tour, Epson Tour, he took a sabbatical from work one year and caddied for me. So he's been in it like when I've been grinding it out like for my life to play. You know, and that was my everything. So now it's fun to go out there and we have fun. And he knows the ins and outs of my game and my personality, so it works.
Yeah, oh, I bet. What is one way significantly that he helps you, other than he just knows you inside and out, like he can help in any way, but what specifically?
Well, he's really good with numbers, so he's a numbers guy.
Yeah.
He's on the work side, he's on the financial side, so he's really good. So I can trust his numbers. You know, I think that's really important, you know, and to be able to like trust what the elevations are going to be.
Yeah.
He knows my clubs and my numbers, and that's one thing over the last couple of years we've really got dialed in, even more so than I think when I played out on tour. Like we know my yardages and my numbers, and we can put all the pieces together to be more accurate.
Yeah.
And I actually think that I play better golf now than I did before. Like if I actually had the time and wanted to go out and play on tour and put in the time to practice and get there, maybe I wouldn't hit the ball as far, but I feel like I would absolutely play better than I did when I was out there just zoned
You don't
in
think
on
you'd hit it as
competing.
far?
I mean, I think if I got, you know, some more workouts in and more practice, maybe just with more practice I would.
But even just, okay, maybe you're not like the top 20% of length, but don't you think you're going to be right in the average?
Yeah, because I was always like the longest hitter out on tour.
I thought so.
When I played, I was like the longest hitter.
Yeah.
I was, you know, where my game struggled back in the day was wedges because I set myself up, you know, to a good driver of the ball and a pretty good putter. But my wedge game struggled.
Yeah. Then you got the 72-yarder, and
and
you
if you
couldn't
don't
get it close.
Yeah, if you don't convert, you don't capitalize. Like, doesn't do much
the
for
point?
you. Then
Yeah.
the person who's hitting it 100 yards shorter than me, but just dinking along, but it's just slow and steady, is like, you know.
Exactly.
So,
Oh, that's fun to watch. It actually wasn't until I improved my wedges that I really took my game to the next level, too. So it's something that kind of you don't pay a ton of attention to, but it makes a huge difference, no matter what level you are, really.
yeah. I mean, I feel like my wedges are so much better than they were back then. I worked on them so much, but it just things didn't click.
Yeah.
I feel like.
So now we're at the end of the summer. Well, it feels like the summer here in Scottsdale because it's still over 100 degrees out here.
Next week, I think it's supposed to drop.
Oh my gosh, finally. I like stopped looking at the
So
weather.
ready. I know.
No, so we're recording this at the beginning of October, but what's next? You're going to record Golf Channel, Golf Pass.
Yep.
Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm going to film in Orlando with Golf Channel, with Golf Pass to film their daily video tips. So it's me and a few other instructors, and we film golf tips.
Yeah.
That will be, you know, put out online for, you know, players to hopefully help their game.
Yes. And
So
we're
I'm
going
working on getting all these tips right now so that I could go out and like just rattle them off.
Because it's the Golf Pass tips just you on screen?
Correct.
Okay, and then
Yes.
School of Golf is where you're with
Martin Hall.
Martin Hall.
Yes.
So is all this content batched? Like you go out, you film it all, and then they scatter it throughout the year?
It is now, yes. So I'll go out a couple times to film for School of Golf because we can only get in like 2 or 3 episodes
Oh, really?
a time.
Yeah.
But before COVID happened, we would literally film 1 show a week. So I would fly to Orlando almost every single week, would film a show, fly out Sunday, film on Monday, fly home Monday night. That show was going to air like that night.
Wow.
So it used to be just a lot of travel.
Yeah.
So now it's nicer, especially with me having kids now, that I can be gone for maybe a couple more days, but it's less travel back and forth.
Yes, absolutely. So what does that look like? What is that week? I don't know. How long is it? A couple weeks?
Yeah,
A
so
week?
when I got to film?
Yeah.
No, so when I go out to film, it'll be just a couple days
Okay.
at a time. Yeah. So I fly out and it's work the whole time. Is the next morning where I'm waking up, super early. Hair and makeup comes. We get that going. Meet with the producers and kind of go over our shows, and we start filming, and we'll do that, for a couple days. And then as soon as on the last day of filming, I head out straight from the golf course, book it to the airport, fly home, get home late.
Yeah. How much say do you have in the topics of the show? Do you have a lot of say in it? Do you have a lot of feedback for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good because, like I said, we have our producers meetings before the show. So if there's something that I absolutely want to bring to the table or want to talk about it, it's always on the table to discuss. As long as it fits what we're, working on, or if I have an idea that maybe they hadn't thought of, then yeah, it's definitely a collaborative. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that when you got into golf media as a whole, it was more of like an expect the unexpected kind of thing, and to always be prepared. Tell us a little bit more about that, especially when moving up into the golf media.
I mean, I think, when I started with golf media, so, I was on Big Break, and so I created a great relationship with Golf Channel. And I knew that one day when I stopped playing, I really wanted to work in golf media, but I wasn't, ready at that time. I was still, even after Big Break, still playing on tour for a while. And when I first got asked to come work for Golf Channel, to come do an audition, I was right in the thick of it playing out on tour. And so I was absolutely honored to get asked. And so I went out, but I wasn't in the mindset, and they knew that. I was like, I still want to play competitive golf. I'm not ready to give this up yet. You know, I don't know. It's too soon for me. And I was unsure of, was this something I wanted to do right now? I just wasn't all the way in. I went and did my audition, and who knows, probably did all right. Not the best, not the worst, I'm sure. And I didn't get it at that time. And I knew it was also because it just wasn't right. It just didn't feel right, And I think they knew that too. I just wasn't ready to do it. And when I didn't get it, I was like, oh man, maybe this was something that I should have been a little more open to, maybe this is something that would have, fit me pretty good. I just didn't, it was just the unknown. I wasn't sure about it. And so I think a year later, I got another call to come out. Hey, we want you to come out and, come do stuff with Golf Channel. And so I was like, okay, at this point, I had another year of playing under my belt, and I was like, okay, I've been through this before. Now I'm just going to go give it my everything and see how it goes, see if I love it, see if they like me, if I like them, and let's just see what happens and be a little more open to the whole experience, because sometimes things come your way and it's the unknown, you're not sure. And I was very open. And I feel like since then I've always been very whatever opportunities, it doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything, but being open to at least hearing the conversation and learning more about it and seeing if it's a good fit, because you just never know what really is a good fit. And it ended up being the best fit ever. So.
Yes. Well, tell me why it's the best fit ever. I mean, you've been doing it for over 8 years.
Yeah,
the
which
School
is
of
wild.
Golf.
Especially now these days. I mean, School of Golf has a great following, and hopefully we're helping a lot of people's golf games, And, Golf Channel and NBC have gone through a lot of changes, and a lot of shows have, got cut, and our show has stayed consistent and remained, which is just huge. So the show has done well, and Martin and I think we work really well together. I think we have really good, chemistry on camera. We have a great relationship and a lot of respect for one another, and we love what we do, and we have the same work ethic. So I think that works, and that comes across on camera. So yeah, the show has been great, and it continues to do well. And so I, am excited to be filming another season next year.
Well, it's not a surprise how successful it is, because as golfers, we're all obsessed with getting better, and at least most of us, and finding the next swing thought tip that will help everything. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is the key to communicating golf education, golf tips, golf training over a video? What's the key to make it successful?
To convert a golf tip to make it successful for you?
Yeah. Or meaning, why is School of Golf so successful? What about it? Other than your work ethic, how, what is essential with communicating a golf tip over video to really make it click with the golfer that's just watching on the screen?
Well, I think, first of all, we have so many tips throughout a show that there's something for everyone. So a beginner can watch the show and can take something away from it. And then even, PGA professionals who are playing out on tour, that I will, meet at events and stuff, say that we watch your show.
Yeah.
So there's just something, like, they're curious as well to know, like, what are you teaching? How are you thinking about things? And then Martin is just an absolutely amazing instructor as well and does a really great job of, some people might make fun of it, but having all the visuals and all the things on set, but that's what makes a show so interesting too when showing a tip. Mm-hmm. He goes to the hardware store and, comes on set with this big bag, the back of his SUV is packed with all these things. And I'm like, what is it now, Martin?
And we're just showing a little bunker shot. What is this plywood for, right?
But we're not changing the game. The game's always going to be the same. And everything, we're not reinventing the game. So it's like, how can you show somebody a tip, but maybe explain it to them in a way that they can visually see it or feel it better or, be able to understand what they're doing in their golf swing a little bit more. So I just think that the way we show tips is a little bit different, and we give, I think, many options for you to, some people understand things differently. I could tell you one tip 3 different ways, and just one of those ways might really hit home to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then, putting your player hat on, do you ever, is it ever too much information for you? Like, sometimes you have to, just shut off all the tips when you go out and play. Uh-huh. Do you ever, try new things and you're like, oh, God. Is it ever too much for you as a player?
So I actually felt like I'm just, built for this show because I dealt with that when I was younger, when I was a junior golfer.
Yeah.
So when I was a junior golfer, I'd be out at the golf course every day after school. And, you're just around a bunch of guys, really. Mm-hmm. Guys coming up to you and, maybe it's me going out to just go play 9 holes or 18 holes after school and you're just paired up with a group of guys. And they want to help you and tell you what you're doing wrong or what you need to do or, throwing all these tips at you. Or back then it was reading all the magazines and reading all the golf tips. And I, for a while, really had to fight that balance of, okay, I have my coach and my teacher telling me these things, and then I'll have a random person come up and just throw something at me. And I would get really confused and flustered, and it would mess with my golf game. And I remember having conversations with my dad, you can't listen to any of that. Even the magazines, I kind of stopped reading all the magazines because I knew I had a coach and I knew what I was working on. So I needed to just focus on what I knew worked for me. Mm-hmm. And so I had to, and it was probably over a span of, a couple years, really work on just being able to focus on what I needed to. And if somebody just made a flippant remark, to just be able to let it go in and let it go out.
Yeah.
And so now with this show on Golf Channel, I can, show you how to do all the tips that Martin's talking about, and I can hit the shots. And we don't rehearse these before we film. So it's I'm learning these tips too, a lot of them with the viewer as well, mm-hmm. and, and showing it on TV. And so, it's, you put on the spot.
Yeah.
But I'm really good at weeding out. There's absolutely tips that he gives and that we talk about that can resonate with me in my golf game and maybe things that I have problems with in my swing. But then there's also things that I know that don't touch my game. And so I can easily just do the tip drill, talk about it, and let it out. Yeah.
So the experience that you've gained in the past 8 years doing this type of media, mm-hmm. what would you tell the person that just started 8 years ago? The Blair that just started?
Yeah, I think number one is, we kind of touched on, is being prepared. Mm-hmm. I think I'm a person who's all in or I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to give 120% or I just really don't care.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think with every job that I do and every experience, because when I started doing, golf media and working with Golf Channel, I didn't have any experience in doing it. I didn't have practice. They didn't walk me through it and teach me how to do it. They threw me in there and you got to figure it out, mm-hmm. sink or swim sort of thing. And so that's a lot of pressure and it's really intense and you're throwing yourself out there in front of the whole world to see,
Yeah.
Everywhere. So
do you find that you were really good at it in the beginning, or do you think that Golf Channel and the producers were patient with you while you kind of went through this learning curve?
I think I was good at it in the beginning, and I think they saw potential.
Yeah.
And they gave me some time and didn't put me in positions that would hurt me, but gave me some time to develop and to grow. And so in the beginning of filming School of Golf, it used to be a 1-hour show, now it's a 30-minute show. But the segments I had, as time went on, I had more and more and more on my plate, to where I could work my way up to be able to do everything. But there was absolutely like, I was good, but I wasn't great yet, you know?
Yes.
So I worked to get there. And then it was just taking feedback and taking, you know, I'm all about like, give me the, whatever negative feedback you have, like, let me know. I want to know because I want to be able to try to do something and make it better. And also want to know the positive things too. So I had a great team, and Martin helped me alongside with that too.
Yeah. So what are you looking at in the future? Do you have any goals or anything, or do you think that they'll, you know, things will come to you when needed or when it's time?
I always feel like I'm kind of like open to the universe and open to
Yes.
opportunities coming to me. And I feel like if you like put out that energy, things come to you. And that's kind of always been, I've always felt that way. Like, I'm open to opportunities. I don't feel like there's any roof on me. Like, you know, there's a clear ceiling. There's a glass ceiling. Like, I want to do anything and everything I can. I really want to continue working, you know, in golf media and with Golf Channel. And I'm excited about the future and some things that, you know, will be coming up. And, you know, I'm, like I said, open to opportunities that come my way. And I love working and love being a mom. So just like balancing that, like that's, both of those things bring me such joy. I wouldn't be myself without, you know, one or the other. So I just want to keep continuing, you know, growing my brand and growing my relationships with the, you know, the companies and people that I work with, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So I'll finish with this. As a woman, you know, seeing yourself on video is, at least for me, is tough. And especially as the years go on and you get older and body changes as you have kids. How have you dealt with that over the years? Especially going from, you know, all your modeling years to big break and now to having 2 kids.
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with that? Because I find it excruciating, to be honest. It is the worst.
Because people are so mean.
Well, yes, that is true. But I feel like I can turn that off a little bit. It's more just like me, myself looking at you, myself. Yeah. So
I think just giving yourself grace.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like, you know, obviously like I've had 2 kids now.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, trying to, you know, get back, you know, to where I was before. You'll never be exactly the same, but it's just like, you know, I'm, you know, putting the effort into, you know, working out and eating right. And I'm, you know, really paying attention to that and, you know, trying to, you know, you want to feel like yourself.
Yeah.
But also like you want to age gracefully too. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like we have so much, like if I could go back, I wouldn't want to go back and redo anything I've done. Like I love like the path that I've had. So I'm happy where I'm at, you know, now. And I just think you just have to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
You know, but it is so hard because, you know, like we're all getting older, but I don't feel like I'm much older than, you know, now the young golf influencers that are out. I feel like I'm absolutely like, I'm like, God, I could teach them so much. Like, I have so much experience, you know, and they're all going to go through everything that we've gone through, the getting married, the having kids, and they're going to see how all that feels, the changing the body, you know, then you're on social media and you have a belly and like some people think it's great. And then some people are like, oh, that's disgusting. We don't want to see your pregnant belly. Like, you know, so it's just dealing with, you know, all of that. So it's just trying to kind of let it go in one ear and out the other, which is so hard. And then just giving yourself grace with where you are in life.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's it. Some
It's
days are
always
more of a
something.
battle. Yes.
Yes, there's always something.
Yeah. Well, tell me what your perfect like health and wellness routine is. Like, what kind of workouts do you prefer to use?
Yeah.
Or do you like to cook?
I love to cook. It's harder to cook as much as, you know, I would want to, like with the boys now, but I do love to cook. Right now I did some blood work and I've always had, like some allergies to gluten, and I noticed it does give me a lot of inflammation, like especially my legs and my knees, and I just kind of feel we're tired. So I did the blood work again recently, seeing if something changes because I love bread and I love carbs and I love gluten.
Am I okay now? Can you check again, please?
Yeah, like has anything changed? No, of course it came back. I'm like, okay, so right now I'm, you know, trying to just pay attention to what I eat and, you know, not eat as much wheat and eat healthy, and I'm doing Pilates. I love to do Pilates classes.
Yeah.
I think that's great, especially for golf. And, you know, helping your mobility, but also strength, and then, you know, tightening like the stomach and all that after having kids, you know.
Any tips for when you travel, how do you stay on track? Or is it just like you don't stay on track and you have to make up for it when you're home?
Well, with workouts, when I travel, because when I'm filming, there's no time to do. I'm not working out when I'm filming or when I'm traveling, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just too busy.
Yeah.
And then when I am at the end of the day, I like working out in the morning. I don't like working out in the evening.
too. Yeah.
And I lose like I just don't want to do it. And I'm too tired to do it anyways. And at that point, rest is more important.
Yes.
You know, so when I travel, the workouts, they don't happen. But when I'm at home, I try to stay pretty strict with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then with food, I find like eating when you're traveling is really tough. So, you know, I'll bring like a bunch of bars and like bring things with me to try to help that.
Yes.
Because sometimes you get stuck in situations where you can't make a good choice. You know, you're at the airport or, you know, in between flights or there's nothing, you know, there's really no good restaurants near your hotel, you know, so it's always a battle, but I try to do the best that I can, but I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Like I cheat. Like if I'm really craving something and I need it, like I'm not gonna not have it.
Indulge.
I'm not gonna, yeah. So you have to, a balance, you know,
Yeah,
as long as you just don't
absolutely.
do it all the time.
Well, Blair, thanks for being on today. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Oh my gosh. So let the listeners know where they can get in touch with you, where your social media platforms are, and then we're also going to put it in the show notes for you.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter, Blair O'Neal, Oneal, and then Instagram, Blair O'Neal Golf. And yeah, you can, and then,
And,
Blair O'Neal or Blair O'Neal Golf. It's either one of those.
and brand new episodes of School of Golf.
Yes, they will be coming out beginning of next year. And then, of course, you can always watch my tips on Golf Pass. And like I said, we'll have a bunch of new daily golf tips for next year as well.
What is Golf Pass? Just so the listeners, if they don't know, what exactly is Golf
I kind of think
Golf
of it
Pass?
almost as like the Netflix for golf.
Okay.
You know, it's an online platform where you can go and you can watch, you know, all of the old episodes of Big Break, or you can watch School of Golf. So all the shows are right there at your fingertips.
So that's where the old episodes of Big Break are.
Yeah, so I think everything lives there. You can watch everything there. But then Golf Pass also sends you to your email links to the daily video tips. So you'll get a tip, you know, daily to help your golf game. And then I think they do deals too, that you get like some deals with green fees at golf courses and, you know, other giveaway things as well. But really it's just, you know, kind of that's where everything is going, just, you know, the online world. But it's nice because you can watch things at your convenience. And if you want to watch a tip or a show that's on, you know, how to get more distance off the tee, you can do that. Or if you want to watch a School of Golf episode on how to help your putting, you can search for that and find that as well.
Great. Well, thanks, Blair, for being on. We'll catch up again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.